You're live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate a year-long commemoration of 150 years of the national song Vande Mataram today. Prime Minister to release commemorative stamp and coin marking the occasion. US President Trump hails the strong trade talks with India, praises Prime Minister Modi as a friend, confirms India visit next year. UN Chief Guterres slams climate inaction as he underlines global failure to curb warming ahead of Brazil's COP30 summit. World Fund to save forest rakes in over $5 billion in pledges. Typhoon Kalmaegi hits Vietnam after killing 114 in Philippines. Flights cancelled, evacuations ordered, army on alert for rescue ops. Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces agrees to proposal from the United States and Arab nations for a humanitarian ceasefire, open to talks on a cessation of hostilities. And on to the details now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate a year-long commemoration of 150 years of the national song Vande Mataram in Delhi today. Well, in a social media post, Prime Minister Modi termed the song as a stirring call that has inspired generations and ignited an undying spirit of patriotism across the nation. The Prime Minister will also release a commemorative stamp and coin on the occasion. The celebrations will witness mass singing of the full version of Vande Mataram across public places with participation of citizens across all segments of society in conjunction with the main program. Well, the national song was written by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee during the auspicious occasion of Akshay Navami, which was on 7th of November in 1875. Now, the song invoking the motherland as the embodiment of strength, prosperity and divinity gave poetic expression to India's awakening spirit of unity and self-respect. It soon became an enduring symbol of devotion to the nation. And India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal also celebrated 150 years of Vande Mataram in New Zealand. While addressing the community, the minister expressed delight at 150 Indians singing the national song on foreign land together.
We are going to recite Vande Mataram at 150 places with 150 people in attendance in each of our various parliamentary constituencies. I think I'll proudly report to Prime Minister Modi that I did it with 150 of our brothers and sisters.
An Indian sand artist, Manas Kumar Sahu, has created a sand animation short film on 150 years of iconic song Vande Mataram. With the art, Sahu has emphasized the profound emotional and cultural significance of the phrase Vande Mataram as more than just a song, but a powerful sentiment and spiritual practice ingrained in the hearts of every Indian. It highlights the sacrifices and essence of India's heritage embedded within each word, asserting that when this phrase resonates, it evokes the spirit of independence and national pride.
एक भावना है जन जन के मन की साधना है बंकिम चंद्र चट्टोपाध्याय ने जो लिखा.
And for more on this, we have Siddharth Bharadwaj joining us. Well, Siddharth, year-long commemoration of 150 years of Vande Mataram starts today. Prime Minister himself will inaugurate the year-long commemoration of the national song. Tell us about the whole program.
Definitely a very good morning to you, Lipakshi, first of all. And, this is a very significant day today as India's national song, Vande Mataram, is completing 150 years. And, this tells us the fact that we cannot relish our present as much if we don't know about our history. And this day is to honor the national song, which is Vande Mataram. And from today, the year-long celebration will start. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself will inaugurate the year-long commemoration of the celebrations of our national song from the IG Stadium in New Delhi. Lipakshi, this song has a great significance in India's history. It was written by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee in the year 1875, and then in the year 1950, to be precise, 24th of January 1950. This was adopted by the Constitution, the Constituent Assembly. It holds a great significance in the history because it tells us about the significance that our freedom fighters have made in the freedom struggle of India. And apart from that, for the growing kids and the younger generation, this is very important to know that what our nation has gone through, how in the freedom movement to free this country from the colonial shackles. Lipakshi, Vande Mataram was first used as a political slogan in India. When we see the progress, especially in the past 10-11 years, how the nation has progressed in every sector, it holds a great significance. Today, the world looks at India. In various sectors, India is progressing rapidly. You name the sector and it is there. Be it agriculture, be it health, be it defense, be it textile, you name the sector and India is progressing. Space and science and technology. As a recent example, when we take it of India's heaviest communication satellite through LMV-3 rocket, the CMS-03 satellite that made history. And, that goes on to show that how India is rapidly progressing in different sectors. So, yeah, today's India is a modern India. And today's India is walking on the path of Atmanirbharta, which is self-reliance. And today's India, is aligning with the vision of Viksit Bharat 2047, under which we'll be able to manufacture everything under the sun by the year 2047, when India will be completing the centenary of its celebration. So that way, this song holds a great, great significance in the history. And from today, the year-long commemoration will take place, and that will be done in 4 phases, Lipakshi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also in his monthly radio program,
right,
Man Ki Baat, urged all the countrymen to come and participate in the celebrations of 150 years of India's national song, which is Vande. That way, Lipakshi, it holds a weightage in India's history and a great significance.
Right.
Today, people from all around the world,
Absolutely,
in fact, every ministry
absolutely,
and
Siddharth,
people, they are coming together and they are celebrating this day, like I said, which is there in the history, and which will inspire the future generations as well. It will tell everyone
absolutely
about how
an inspiration for the future generations, Siddharth. A great day today. Mass recital of Vande Mataram as year-long commemoration of 150 years of Vande Mataram starts today. Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi himself will inaugurate the year-long commemoration at Indira Gandhi Stadium around 9:30 a.m. today. And thank you so much, Siddharth, for all those details. And moving on, US President Donald Trump said on Thursday, and he praised Prime Minister Narendra Modi, calling him a great man and a friend, while hinting that he may visit India next year. Speaking to reporters at the White House, Trump said his talks with PM Modi on trade relations were going great. When asked directly if he planned to travel to India next year, Trump replied, "It could be yes. Listen in."
I had a great trip there with Prime Minister Modi. He's a great man, and I'll be going.
You're planning to go to India next year, sir?
It could be, yeah.
And India's eastern state of Bihar witnessed successful first phase of polling on Thursday, recording a turnout of 64.66%, the highest in the state's history. However, this is not the final figure. It may increase further. Well, the Election Commission said polling concluded peacefully in a festive mood at all 45,341 polling stations in 121 constituencies across 18 districts. It added that the women voters participated in large numbers with a lot of enthusiasm. Several prominent leaders, including Tejasvi Yadav, Deputy Chief Minister Samrat Chaudhary, and Vijay Kumar Sinha, and a number of other ministers, were among the 1,314 candidates who contested in the Phase 1. And now the focus shifts to the second phase, in which 122 constituencies will go to polls on the 11th of November, and counting of the votes will be done on the 14th of November. In another first in Bihar, as part of the International Election Visitors Program, 16 delegates from 6 countries, namely South Africa, Indonesia, Thailand, the Philippines, Belgium and Colombia, witnessed the poll proceedings. The delegates commended the Bihar elections for being internationally one of the most well-organized, transparent, efficient and participative elections. And India is today observing the birth anniversary of acclaimed physicist and the first Asian to receive Nobel Prize for Physics, Sri Chandrasekhara Venkata Raman. Let's take a look at his journey and contributions that continue to inspire the science enthusiast.
Today we remember one of India's greatest scientific minds, Sir Chandrasekhara Venkata Raman. Born in Thiruvannaikaval near Tiruchirappalli in Tamil Nadu, Dr. Raman's brilliance illuminated the world of physics. In 1922, he published his groundbreaking thesis on the molecular diffraction of light, a study that led to one of the most revolutionary discoveries in science, the Raman effect, evidence of the quantum nature of light. This landmark discovery changed the course of modern science. The day of its discovery, 28th February, is celebrated every year as National Science Day, a tribute to the power of Indian innovation and intellect. In 1930, C.V. Raman became the first Asian to win the Nobel Prize in Physics. He was later conferred with India's highest civilian honor, the Bharat Ratna, in 1954. His pioneering work continues to inspire generations of scientists, researchers, and students, reminding us that when science moves forward, humanity moves with it. We salute Sir C.V. Raman, a visionary whose discovery changed not just science, but the very direction of progress itself.
And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. Nancy Pelosi announces retirement after 4 decades of career, won't seek re-election in 2026. U.S. travelers face major disruptions as federal shutdown triggers widespread flight cancellations and delays. And UN Security Council lifts sanctions on Syrian President Ahmed al-Shara ahead of the White House visit.
देश की मिट्टी captures the deep connection that Indians everywhere feel with the country's soil. But today, this land and the communities that directly depend on it both face grave threats. We uncover stories of innovation and resilience that are trying to safeguard this soil for the future generations.
When we follow what the scientists recommend, we end up spending less. I now use less fertilizers, but I'm getting better yields.
These kinds of structures, they actually help keep the water in the landscape, allowing it to sort of seep into the groundwater and contribute to, you know, maintaining groundwater level.
99% of the cases that I've seen, cause for urgency is not satisfied.
The project is innovative. They're maintaining our beach like a clean city.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and moving on, UN Secretary-General António Guterres opened a gathering of world leaders in Belém, Brazil, ahead of the COP30 climate summit by declaring that the world has failed to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. He called the situation a moral failure and urged world leaders to slash fossil fuel emissions and protect the nature. Guterres' warning came as global leaders have so far fallen short of the target of limit warming to 1.5 degrees, and UN's weather agency reported that 2025 is set to be one of the hottest years on record. Antonio, however, added that the UN is still optimistic and that is the best time to fight back.
Every fraction of a degree means more hunger, displacement and loss, especially for those least responsible. This is moral failure and deadly negligence. The United Nations will not give up on the 1.5 degrees goal, because another truth is evident. We have never been better equipped to fight back.
Well, the world leaders launched a fund on Thursday to save the world's forest at COP30 summit in Brazil, quickly raking in over $5 billion in pledges to reward tropical countries for not chopping down the trees. The initial government commitments still fall far short of what is needed for the fund to attract the private investment it seeks. But Brazil's President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva still described the Tropical Forest Forever Facility, or TFFF, as unprecedented. Ultimately, Brazil, the fund's political sponsor, seeks to create a $125 billion facility that would pay out a share of profits to developing countries for every hectare of forest they leave standing. Now, Brazil hopes the fund will create a reliable, long-term revenue stream, an alternative to tropical countries cutting down forest for economic gain. Well, Brazil had put in the first $1 billion pledge for the fund, matched by fellow forest nation Indonesia. The UK said it would not contribute, while Finland's government said it would be difficult to find new resources in the uncertain economic climate. Now, France pledged a conditional €500 million. Portugal added a more modest $1 million, and Germany made an unspecified commitment. Norway on Thursday pledged $3 billion for loans, but with strings attached. Brazil has identified more than 70 developing countries that could be eligible for annual payments from the fund. And Typhoon Kalmaegi struck Vietnam's central region on Thursday, prompting mass evacuations in areas already hit by previous storms. In Qunon, Nam Gia Lai, officials were seen urging the residents to evacuate ahead of the typhoon. Dozens, including elderly women and children, were seen taking shelter in a school. Kalmaegi devastated the Philippines, killing at least 140 people and leaving 127 missing before hitting central Vietnam with winds up to 149 kilometers per hour. The typhoon hit central Vietnam was still reeling from more than a week of flooding and record rains that killed at least 47 people and submerged centuries-old historic sites. Vietnam, which usually faces about 10 storms a year, is experiencing its 13th with Kalmaegi in 2025. And more on the weather in Spain. Heavy rainfall caused flooding across parts of northeastern Catalonia region on Thursday, prompting authorities to issue warnings and emergency responses. The Catalan Weather Agency issued an orange alert in the region, with Girona recording the highest rainfall with 43.6 litres per square metre. As per the local media, Catalonia's fire brigade handled 60 emergency calls during the recent weather event. Authorities lifted the flood alert at midday but advised residents to remain cautious when outdoors. And Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces agreed to a proposal from the United States and Arab powers for a humanitarian ceasefire on Thursday and to talks on a cessation of hostilities. Both the RSF and the Sudanese army have agreed to various ceasefire proposals during their 2.5-year-old war, though none have succeeded. U.S. President Donald Trump's administration stated that it was making efforts to bring an end to the conflict in Sudan. The announcement comes less than 2 weeks after the RSF took over the famine-stricken city of Al-Fashir, consolidating its control over the vast western region of Darfur. Earlier in September, the United States, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates and Egypt called for a 3-month humanitarian truce in Sudan to be followed by a permanent ceasefire. And moving on, Nancy Pelosi, the first woman to serve as the powerful Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives, has announced her retirement. She will not run for re-election to Congress in 2026. It marks the end of a 4-decade career. She made her announcement 2 days after voters in California on Tuesday overwhelmingly approved Proposition 50. She has been at the forefront in battling for control of the House and especially taking on Republican Donald Trump, who feuded with her in his first presidential term from 2017 to 2020. Pelosi's retirement follows years of younger Democrats chafing at elders, hanging on to their positions of power and not doing enough to cultivate future leaders.
For decades, I've cherished the privilege of representing our magnificent city in the United States Congress. We can be proud of what we have accomplished, but there's always much more work to be done. That is why I want you, my fellow San Franciscans, to be the first to know. I will not be seeking re-election to Congress.
Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump was glad with Pelosi's retirement.
Nancy Pelosi. I think she's an evil woman. I'm glad she's retiring. I think she did the country a great service by retiring. I think she was a tremendous liability for the country. I thought she was an evil woman who did a poor job, who cost the country a lot in damages and in reputation. I thought she was terrible. Thank you very much.
And travelers across the United States brace for major flight disruptions as the federal government shutdown triggered widespread cancellations. Airlines are cutting hundreds of flights, citing safety concerns and staff shortages. While chaos has descended at the U.S. airports, the Federal Aviation Administration has ordered a 10% reduction in flights across 40 high-traffic areas of the country. More than 650 flights were already cancelled, with numbers expected to rise. American Airlines confirmed it would cancel about 220 flights delay as part of revised schedule. The shutdown has impacted operations at major airports, with travelers at Boston and Newark airports facing average delays of more than 2 hours, and those at Chicago and Washington more than an hour. Authorities say the flight reductions are precautionary measures to prevent potential safety risks amid the ongoing disruptions. And the United Nations Security Council lifted sanctions on Syrian President Ahmed al-Shara on Thursday ahead of his White House visit next week. The U.S. drafted resolution also lifted sanctions on Syrian Interior Minister Anas Khattab. A UN Security Council resolution backed by 14 members, with China abstaining, removed the Syrian President and Interior Minister from the ISIL and Al-Qaeda sanction list. The lifting of sanctions on Shara is mostly symbolic, as travel restrictions were previously waived for him. The move also ends the assets freeze and arms embargo against him. Washington's ambassador to the UN, Mike Waltz, stated Shara's government was working hard to fulfill its commitments on countering terrorism and narcotics, on eliminating any remnants of chemical weapons and promoting regional security and stability. Well, Vienna is all set for the holiday season, with its Christmas markets lighting up the city. From Schönbrunn Palace to 14 other festive spots, over 900 stalls await visitors with crafts, food and family fun, keeping the holiday spirit alive until January 6th. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available in both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.